Today, I want to talk about something that affects all of us, the tendency to focus on others instead of ourselves. We live in a world where comparison is everywhere. Social media, society, and even our own minds constantly tell us to look at what others are doing. We compare our success to someone else's achievements, our looks to someone else's appearance, and our lives to someone else's highlight reel. But in doing so, we lose sight of the most important person, ourselves. Everyone has their own journey in life, and no two paths are the same. From the moment we are born, we are set on different courses shaped by our backgrounds, circumstances, and individual choices. Some people seem to achieve success effortlessly at a young age, while others take longer to find their purpose. Some face more obstacles, while others have opportunities that seem to come easily. However, the truth is that no one's journey is entirely smooth, and no one is without struggles. The problem arises when we start comparing our journey to someone else's, measuring our progress based on their achievements instead of focusing on our own growth. It's easy to look around and feel like we are falling behind. Social media, in particular, has made it even harder to focus on ourselves. Every day, we see people sharing their highlights, their new job, their accomplishments, their perfect relationships, their dream vacations. It creates an illusion that everyone else is thriving while we are stuck in the same place. But what we often forget is that people only show what they want the world to see. No one posts their failures, their doubts, or the nights they spend worrying about the future. When we compare ourselves to others based on these curated snapshots, we are comparing our real life with all its ups and downs to someone else's best moments. This kind of comparison is unfair and unrealistic, yet it happens all the time. The danger of focusing too much on others is that it can distract us from our own progress. Instead of appreciating how far we have come, we feel discouraged because someone else appears to be ahead. But life is not a race. There is no set timeline for success, happiness, or fulfillment. Some people may reach their career goals in their 20s, while others may discover their true passion later in life. Some may find love early, while others may take years to build meaningful relationships. There is no right or wrong way to go through life, and there is certainly no deadline for achieving personal milestones. The key is to trust our own process and understand that growth happens at different speeds for everyone. Another important thing to remember is that just because someone else is succeeding does not mean that we are failing. There is no limit to success, and someone else's achievements do not take away from our own potential. The world is full of opportunities, and we each have the ability to create our own path. When we focus too much on what others are doing, we risk losing sight of our own goals and dreams. Instead of using someone else's success as motivation, we often let it make us feel inadequate. But the truth is, the only person we should be competing with is ourselves. The goal should not be to outdo others, but to improve, grow, and become a better version of who we were yesterday. When we truly focus on ourselves, we begin to appreciate our own progress. We start to see that every small step forward matters, even if it doesn't seem as significant as someone else's big achievement. We begin to value our own experiences, recognizing that every challenge we face teaches us something valuable. We learn to be patient with ourselves, knowing that our journey is ours alone and that we are exactly where we need to be. At the end of the day, what matters most is not how fast we get to our goals, but that we continue moving forward in our own way. Life is not about keeping up with others, it's about staying true to ourselves. The moment we stop worrying about where everyone else is and start focusing on our own path, we find peace, fulfillment, and real progress. Comparison is one of the biggest obstacles to personal happiness and fulfillment. It's natural to look at others and measure our progress against theirs. But when this becomes a habit, it can lead to self-doubt, frustration, and unhappiness. The problem with comparison is that it shifts our focus away from our own journey and makes us feel as though we are not enough. Instead of appreciating what we have accomplished, we become fixated on what we lack. We look at someone else's success and feel like we are falling behind. We see others achieving things that we haven't yet, and suddenly our own progress seems insignificant. One of the main reasons comparison leads to unhappiness is that it creates unrealistic expectations. We often compare our struggles to someone else's success, forgetting that we are seeing only a small part of their story. In today's world, where social media dominates our lives, this problem has only intensified. We scroll through endless posts of people showcasing their achievements, beautiful vacations, seemingly perfect relationships, and exciting careers. But what we fail to realize is that these images are curated highlights, not the full reality. No one shares their failures, their moments of self-doubt, or the hard work and sacrifices behind their success. When we compare ourselves to these filtered versions of reality, we set ourselves up for disappointment. We start believing that we are not doing enough, that our lives are lacking, and that we need to keep up with others in order to feel worthy. Another reason comparison is so harmful is that it takes away our ability to appreciate our own journey. When we are constantly looking at what others have, we fail to see the value in what we have already accomplished. Instead of celebrating our growth, we belittle it. Instead of acknowledging our own progress, we only see how far we still have to go. This creates a cycle of dissatisfaction where no achievement ever feels good enough because there will always be someone who seems to be doing better. The reality is that happiness doesn't come from external validation, it comes from within. True contentment is found in appreciating our own journey, embracing our own strengths, and setting goals that are meaningful to us, rather than trying to live up to someone else's standards. Furthermore, comparison can lead to unnecessary stress and pressure. The need to keep up with others can push us to make decisions that are not aligned with our true desires. We might choose careers, relationships, or lifestyles not because they genuinely make us happy, but because we feel like we should be achieving certain milestones based on what others are doing. This pressure can take away the joy of personal growth and replace it with anxiety and self-doubt. Instead of making choices that bring us fulfillment, we start making choices based on fear of being left behind, fear of not being good enough, and fear of not measuring up. The irony of comparison is that it is never ending. No matter how much we achieve, there will always be someone who appears to have more. If we base our happiness on being better than others, we will always be chasing an impossible standard. There will always be someone with a bigger house, a better job, a more exciting life. The key to breaking free from this cycle is to shift our focus inward. Instead of measuring ourselves against others, we need to measure ourselves against who we were yesterday. Growth is personal, and success is different for everyone. When we stop comparing and start appreciating our own progress, we free ourselves from unnecessary negativity and open the door to real happiness. Setting personal goals is one of the most powerful ways to focus on yourself and create a fulfilling life. Many people spend too much time chasing goals that are influenced by societal expectations, family pressures, or comparisons with others. They pursue careers, relationships, or lifestyles that may look good on the outside but do not truly align with their passions, values, or long-term happiness. When you set personal goals based on what genuinely matters to you, you take control of your own life instead of letting external factors dictate your path. One of the biggest mistakes people make is setting goals just because they see others achieving something similar. They think if they are successful in that field, maybe I should be too. Or, since everyone my age is doing this, I should do it as well. But following someone else's path will never bring true fulfillment. Every person has different strengths, interests, and dreams. What works for one person may not be the right fit for another. When you set goals based on external pressure rather than your own aspirations, you risk feeling lost, unmotivated, and unfulfilled, even if you achieve those goals. This is why it is essential to take the time to reflect on what you truly want out of life, what excites you, what challenges you in a meaningful way, and what gives you a sense of purpose. Another important reason for setting personal goals is that they give your life direction and meaning. Without clear goals, it is easy to feel stuck or uncertain about where you are headed. You may find yourself going through life aimlessly, simply following routines without any real sense of progress or accomplishment. But when you have well-defined goals that align with your personal desires, you wake up each day with a sense of purpose. You know what you are working toward, and each step forward brings a sense of achievement and motivation to keep going. Setting personal goals also allows you to measure your progress in a healthy and constructive way. Instead of comparing yourself to others and feeling inadequate, you can track your own growth based on your past self. This shift in mindset is powerful because it removes the negative effects of comparison and replaces them with self-improvement. When your only competition is you, every step forward is a victory. You begin to see that even small progress is meaningful, and you learn to celebrate your own journey rather than constantly looking at others. Additionally, personal goals help you stay focused and disciplined. Without goals, it is easy to get distracted by what others are doing or to waste time worrying about things that do not truly matter. But when you have a clear vision of what you want to achieve, you naturally filter out distractions and stay committed to your path. Your time and energy become more valuable, and you start prioritizing activities that contribute to your growth rather than ones that simply keep you busy. One of the most rewarding aspects of setting personal goals is the sense of self-confidence and fulfillment that comes from achieving them. When you accomplish something that is truly important to you, it reinforces your belief in yourself and your abilities. You prove to yourself that you are capable, strong, and in control of your own destiny. This confidence then fuels further growth, helping you set even bigger and more meaningful goals in the future. Setting personal goals is about taking ownership of your life. It means deciding what success looks like for you rather than letting others define it for you. It means focusing on what brings you happiness, growth, and fulfillment instead of following someone else's version of success. When you set goals that are meaningful to you, your life becomes more purposeful, your journey more rewarding, and your happiness more genuine. Self-improvement is a lifelong journey, and the best way to grow is by continuously working on yourself rather than getting distracted by what others are doing. When you dedicate time and effort to becoming the best version of yourself, you develop new skills, improve your mindset, and strengthen your abilities. However, many people spend too much time focusing on others, watching their success, analyzing their choices, and comparing themselves rather than directing that energy toward their own personal growth. The truth is, the only person you should compete with is who you were yesterday. When you commit to self-improvement, you unlock new potential and create a fulfilling, purpose-driven life. One of the greatest benefits of focusing on your own growth is the development of self-awareness. Many people go through life without truly understanding their strengths, weaknesses, passions, or values. They follow societal expectations without questioning what truly matters to them. But when you focus on improving yourself, you begin to understand yourself on a deeper level. You identify areas where you can grow, recognize habits that are holding you back, and develop a clear vision for the person you want to become. Self-awareness allows you to make decisions that align with your values rather than being influenced by external pressures. Self-improvement also builds confidence. When you actively work on yourself, whether it's through learning new skills, improving your mindset, or adopting healthier habits, you start to see progress. That progress, no matter how small, reinforces the belief that you are capable of growth and achievement. Many people lack confidence not because they aren't talented or intelligent, but because they haven't given themselves the chance to prove what they can do. By setting personal challenges and pushing yourself to overcome them, you develop the kind of self-assurance that comes from experience, not external validation. Another important aspect of focusing on self-improvement is resilience. Life is full of challenges, setbacks, and obstacles, and those who invest in their own growth are better equipped to handle them. When you focus on building emotional intelligence, problem-solving skills, and mental strength, you become more adaptable and capable of overcoming difficulties. Instead of feeling defeated when things don't go as planned, you see challenges as opportunities to learn and improve. This mindset shift allows you to navigate life with a sense of control and determination rather than feeling powerless in the face of adversity. Personal growth also leads to greater fulfillment. Many people mistakenly believe that happiness comes from external achievements, money, status, or recognition. But true fulfillment comes from knowing that you are evolving, improving, and becoming a better version of yourself. When you dedicate yourself to self-improvement, you experience a deeper sense of purpose. You no longer feel stuck or stagnant because you are constantly working toward becoming the person you aspire to be. This internal sense of progress brings a level of satisfaction that external rewards cannot provide. Additionally, self-improvement strengthens relationships. When you focus on becoming a better version of yourself, you bring more value to your interactions with others. You become a better communicator, a better listener, and a more understanding person. Many conflicts and misunderstandings in relationships stem from insecurities, miscommunication, or emotional immaturity. By working on yourself, you develop the emotional intelligence needed to build healthier, more meaningful connections with those around you. Instead of comparing yourself to others or feeling envious of their success, you learn to support and uplift them, knowing that your growth does not depend on someone else's downfall. At the end of the day, the journey of self-improvement is one of the most rewarding paths you can take. It allows you to unlock your full potential, build confidence, and create a life that is meaningful to you. When you stop wasting energy on comparison and external validation, you gain the freedom to grow at your own pace in your own way. Your only competition should be who you were yesterday, and your only goal should be to become better today than you were before. By committing to self-improvement, you take control of your future and create a life that is not only successful, but deeply fulfilling. Your energy is one of the most valuable resources you have, yet many people waste it by focusing on things that do not serve them. When you spend too much time worrying about what others are doing, comparing yourself to their achievements, or trying to meet their expectations, you drain yourself emotionally, mentally, and even physically. Instead of using your energy to improve yourself and work toward your goals, you end up exhausting yourself over things that are often out of your control. The more time and effort you invest in watching others, the less you have left for your own growth. The reality is that every person has a limited amount of energy each day. We all have responsibilities, dreams, and challenges that require our focus. If you constantly allow your mind to be consumed by thoughts of how others are doing, what they think of you, or whether you measure up, you are diverting precious energy away from your own life. This can leave you feeling stuck, unmotivated, or even resentful. Imagine how much more you could accomplish if you redirected that energy toward yourself, toward learning new skills, improving your mindset, and making progress on your personal goals. One of the biggest consequences of misdirected energy is that it can lead to burnout and frustration. When you focus too much on others, you put unnecessary pressure on yourself. You may feel like you are constantly chasing an impossible standard, trying to keep up with people who have different circumstances, talents, or opportunities. This can create stress, anxiety, and self-doubt. You may find yourself working harder not because you truly want to improve, but because you feel like you have to prove something. Over time, this pressure can wear you down, making it harder to stay motivated and productive. On the other hand, when you focus on yourself, your efforts become more meaningful. You set goals that truly matter to you, not just ones that look good to others. You make progress in ways that align with your values rather than trying to meet someone else's definition of success. Another way wasted energy affects you is by distracting you from your strengths and abilities. When you are too busy observing others, you might overlook your own unique talents and potential. Instead of embracing what makes you special, you might start doubting yourself or trying to imitate others. But no two people have the same skills, experiences, or paths in life. What works for someone else may not work for you, and that's okay. The moment you start focusing on your own abilities, you gain the confidence to develop them further. You begin to recognize your own progress, no matter how small, and you appreciate the steps you are taking toward becoming the best version of yourself. Wasting energy on others also prevents you from living in the present moment. If you are always concerned with what someone else is doing, you are not fully engaged in your own life. You might miss out on opportunities, meaningful experiences, or important lessons because your attention is elsewhere. The more you focus on your own journey, the more aware and appreciative you become of your surroundings. You begin to enjoy your own progress rather than constantly looking around to see if someone else is ahead. At the end of the day, where you direct your energy determines the quality of your life. If you spend it worrying about others, you will always feel behind, unsatisfied, or not good enough. But if you invest it in yourself, you will grow, improve, and create a life that is truly fulfilling. By protecting your energy and focusing on your own path, you give yourself the best chance at success, not by someone else's standards, but by your own. Happiness is something that many people spend their lives chasing, but too often, they look for it in the wrong places. One of the biggest mistakes people make is believing that happiness comes from external validation, whether it's approval from others, material success, or social status. They believe that if they achieve a certain level of success, gain recognition, or receive admiration, they will finally feel fulfilled. However, true happiness does not come from what others think of us or what we achieve in comparison to them. It comes from within, from self-acceptance, personal growth, and appreciating the life we have. One of the dangers of seeking happiness through external validation is that it makes you dependent on others for your sense of worth. If your happiness is tied to how others perceive you, you will always be at their mercy. You may find yourself constantly trying to impress people, meeting their expectations, or changing yourself just to fit in. But no matter how much approval you receive, it will never be enough, because there will always be someone whose opinion you feel you need to win over. The moment their validation disappears, so does your sense of happiness. This creates a cycle where you are never truly satisfied, always looking for the next source of approval to feel worthy. Another reason why happiness must come from within is that external factors are temporary. Achievements, wealth, popularity, these things can bring temporary pleasure, but they do not create lasting fulfillment. Many people spend years chasing material success, believing that once they reach a certain level, they will finally feel happy. But when they get there, they often realize that the happiness they expected is short-lived. They may feel satisfied for a moment, but soon they start looking for the next goal, the next milestone, or the next thing that will supposedly bring them happiness. This endless pursuit can be exhausting and frustrating because it is based on the false idea that happiness is something to be acquired rather than something to be cultivated from within. When you focus on finding happiness within yourself, you free yourself from this constant need for validation. Instead of relying on others to make you feel good about yourself, you develop self-confidence and self-worth that do not depend on external factors. You learn to appreciate who you are regardless of what others think or say. This doesn't mean you stop striving for success or personal growth, but it means that your happiness is not dependent on those things. You find joy in the present moment rather than waiting for some future achievement to make you happy. One of the best ways to cultivate inner happiness is through gratitude. When you focus on what you have rather than what you lack, you develop a sense of contentment and peace. Instead of comparing yourself to others and feeling inadequate, you appreciate your own journey and recognize the good in your life. Gratitude shifts your perspective, allowing you to see that happiness is not about having more, but about valuing what you already have. The more you practice gratitude, the less power external validation has over you. Another important aspect of inner happiness is self-acceptance. Many people struggle with feeling like they are not good enough because they are constantly measuring themselves against unrealistic standards. They believe that they need to be perfect, successful, or admired in order to be happy. But true happiness comes when you accept yourself as you are, flaws and all. This doesn't mean you stop improving, but it means you recognize that your worth is not based on perfection or comparison. You deserve to be happy simply because you are you. At the end of the day, happiness is a choice. It is not something that others can give you or take away from you. It is something you cultivate by focusing on self-growth, gratitude, and self-acceptance. When you stop looking for happiness in external validation and start finding it within yourself, you gain true freedom. You no longer depend on others to feel good about yourself, and you no longer feel the need to compare your life to someone else's. Instead, you experience a deep sense of fulfillment that comes from knowing that who you are, as you are, is enough.